Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. If it's Tuesday, that can mean only one thing. The sun is shining in the great state of Ohio, and Duane Long joins us. Duane, how goes it?
All I can say to that is it's football season. I shouldn't have to say anything else.
You don't have to. We are going to get going here. We're going to talk plenty about Ohio State, Oregon, plenty about recruiting. First, if you are not subscribed to the podcast, you are not doing this correctly. Any one of your major providers, your Apple, your Stitcher, your Spotify, just go on there and sign up. That way, every time we post a podcast, it will populate on your phone. For example, we had our first Bucknuts Almost Live podcast over the weekend, our in-season pod. That would have showed up there. We had a Labor Day pod yesterday. That would have showed up there. You can also subscribe to the pod via YouTube. Just go to our YouTube page, Bucknuts 24/7 Sports, and subscribe. That is the best way to do it. You don't need to schedule anything. It just comes right to you. All right, Duane. It is Oregon week, and we are going to look ahead at the Ducks in just a minute here. But first, now that the week is complete, the rankings are set to come out today. Ohio State will be ranked number 3 behind number 1, Alabama, and number 2, Georgia. Do you think that ranking is accurate? And once you got a chance to see the rest of college football after Ohio State got the Thursday night spotlight, how do you think they fit in?
Well, I think that those rankings are fair, but I think you could flop Ohio State and Georgia. It really comes down to this. Is Ohio State's defense better than Georgia's offense? As we saw, Georgia's defense just chewed Clemson up, just overwhelmed them. Quarterback couldn't do anything. They've got no running attack. Clemson right now, wow. What can you say about Clemson after watching that debacle? They don't have any running attack. They're not even trying to run the football. I don't know where the quarterback's got a go-to receiver. They've got Boston College came out real strong this season so far. They've got Boston College. That could be a problem game for them. We'll see what happens. They don't play Notre Dame this year. That's one place where they lucked out. Clemson is not a very good football team right now. And I don't know if they've got the horses to do it. Their offensive line. Think about what Ohio State did to that offensive line in a playoff game last year. Well, then right off the bat, they come in and Georgia beats them up as bad, if not worse. So that offensive line is really in trouble. Clemson is not a very good football team. Getting back to the top 3, I think that it's Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia could be 2A and 2B, and then the field. I'm not seeing anybody else out there. Those 3 have separated themselves from what I can see from the rest of college football right now. Throw Oklahoma in there at number 4. That would be my number 4. Definitely not Clemson.
Yeah, I watched Oklahoma for a while, and if Tulane can stand in the ring with you and trade punches until the 12th round, I've got to see you beat a fighter better than that before I hop on the bandwagon. And Oklahoma's got a little bit of a counterfeit vibe to me. The Ohio State thing's interesting to me, and I get that they had the national spotlight and that Minnesota is not traditionally one of the programs that has a lot of juice. But after watching the games, I thought Minnesota was actually pretty good. Their offensive line was a veteran offensive line, like I said. We talked about going into the game, the most experienced offensive line in college football. Their running back, Mo Ibrahim, until he blew his Achilles out, is a national caliber running back, is a pro. I hope that his injury didn't affect that. And they have a quarterback that's older than some people on Ohio State's staff. Not to mention, it was on the road at night in the rain. The Buckeyes played without their center and their top 2 cornerbacks. It was their quarterback's first ever start, and they scored 45 points. Georgia, the defense was tremendous. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. What would the front row be like if Ohio State didn't score an offensive touchdown in a game? JT Daniels doesn't look like the Messiah to me. I just don't get that as much. I understand the quality of W, that it's Clemson. I don't think there's any question Alabama is the number one team and on their own tier. I said on the weekend podcast, it's Ohio State, Alabama, and everybody else. What I probably should have said was it's Alabama, Ohio State, and then everybody else. So I think Ohio State's on the number two tier all by their lonesome right now. I don't buy Georgia, but we shall see. Ohio State welcomes the Ducks to town this weekend. Oregon, not an impressive performance, by the way, over the weekend. They were in a dogfight with Fresno State, and you could make a very strong argument that the Bulldogs gave that game away late. Oregon also suffered an injury. Their best player, Kayvon Thibodeaux, thought by many to be the number one prospect in college football and will be the number one pick in the draft, defensive end, got hurt in the first half, came back, is listed as day to day. Their quarterback, Anthony Brown of Boston College fame, was not impressive. Your biggest concerns as the Ducks come calling for a 12 noon game, East Coast time, mind you, that's 9 a.m. Pacific.
I don't have a lot of I don't have the concern that other people seem to have about this game. Yeah, they've become a team that is, and everybody's got them in their head now about best teams in the country in any particular year. But I don't see what as you said, they Fresno State took them to the 12th round. So I don't know how we can get all excited about this. And Thibodeaux, I don't care what anybody says. This guy cannot be 100%. He's going to play. That's just crazy to think he's not going to play in this game. Biggest game of his life. He's going to play. But I just don't know if he's going to be 100%. And I'm not really worried about it anyway. I just think that this is a bit of an overhyped game. Maybe we're still young at quarterback. We still got to get some things ironed out with Stroud. You know, he missed some balls he shouldn't have missed. Let's just be honest about it. There's some beautiful throws that he made in this game, but still, there were ones that he missed he should have hit. I think we could just actually take the ball and run right at him. Just beat him up with all those backs. You know, make them chase Travion Henderson and Mayan around, and then hit him with the power right up the middle with Teague. Just beat him up and wear him down, and you know, just go home with the W.
If you have concerns about Ohio State's personnel heading into this game, where would it be?
There isn't really any. The one thing I would say is the decisions being made about the running back, who's gonna be the man. I mean, I was talking to several guys. We've been talking about it ever since the game ended. That, you know, Mayan Williams was the first guy on the field, but Mayan Williams had just a few more carries than Teague did and Henderson. Well, if you add up the other running backs on this team, they had more combined carries than Mayan Williams did. So don't tell me we've settled on the number one back. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe when you look at that, the distribution of carries, we're seeing a coaching staff that's still determining a pecking order. They haven't decided yet. We'll see about that. It's running back by committee just for, a few games. Let's see what's going on here. And I also think really the core of the matter is everyone talks about what a great guy Master Teague is, and he's worked so hard. And I don't think the staff just wants to take the job away from him. Let's see it happen on a field. Just, these other guys are better than you. And not just take the carries away from the guy.
I got a text before halftime asking me, may have been my son, expressing a little bit of concern. And I said, once 32 gets in the game, the offense will be fire emoji and fire emoji. It was. I feel like the top's going to come off the defense every time the guy's in there. So he needs to get carries. I am not one who usually likes a committee running back approach. I think you need to have a bell cow. The more I think about it, though, I think in this case, Mayan Williams one series, Travion Henderson the next might be the way you have to do it. I just don't think you can keep Henderson off the field, and I don't think you can keep Mayan Williams off the field. He's too good. So obviously this is a first world issue, but I don't see Teague getting many carries. I would like to see Teague as like a late in the third quarter hammer, and when they're up 3 touchdowns, they just put him in there to kind of seal the deal. As far as Kayvon Thibodeaux, I was somewhat hoping he'd be healthy so that Nicholas Petit-Frere could take him on full strength and boost his draft stock to where you and I think it should be. But a limited Kayvon Thibodeaux, I think Nicholas Petit-Frere will handle him, though it will be jaundiced by the fact that Thibodeaux is limping. I think it will help Nicholas Petit-Frere on the national scene. I'm going to take a quick break, come back, and talk recruiting. All right, Duane, we are back. Ohio State offered its 6th running back in the class of 2023. Floridian Cedric Baxter Jr. out of Orlando Edgewater. Trayon Webb was the apple of their eye for a while. He's committed to Oklahoma. It does appear now the top of their board is Richard Young. How would you compare Cedric Baxter Jr. to Richard Young?
I would not. They don't belong in the same conversation. I have to say, I'm a little surprised at this offer. I looked at him. I ran the film several times just to see, try to pick up what they're seeing in him. I mean, I just can't see that they're in the same category. I believe Richard Young is one of the top 2 or 3 backs in the country. He's special, 5-star for sure. And I especially don't see this kid as an early offer. So I don't know. It's out there. I wonder if it's committable. We'll see what's going to happen. No, you can't compare these two. You can't.
Speaking of committable, there's been some discussion whether Aamil Wagner, offensive lineman class of 2022 from Wayne and Huber Heights outside Dayton, has a committable offer. Crystal balls have rolled, though. Bill Kurlick flipped his crystal ball from Ohio State to Kentucky. Josh Edwards, who covers Kentucky for 24/7 Sports, not only put a crystal ball in for Aamil Wagner to go to Kentucky, but he put it in with a confidence of 8, which means he probably has a source. One thing to note, Ahmad Wagner, Aamil's older brother, also a Wayne graduate, started playing basketball at Iowa, transferred and finished as a tight end at Kentucky. He was with Chicago's practice squad for a bit, but our word is he's going to be hired on as a graduate assistant on Kentucky's staff. That seems to grease the skids for Wagner even further. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, when you add it all up, he's got a non-committable. We know that. And then you throw his brother as a grad, and he's coming back as a grad assistant. I just don't know how you can not pencil him in. If we had a committable offer, it may be different. I mean, probably his brother would be telling him, man, you got a chance to go to Ohio State. But it's not there. We don't know when it's going to come. It just makes sense that he's going to go to Kentucky.
And it is ironic because his brother was not a football player until his senior year of high school at Wayne, and then was first-team All-State at receiver. And Ohio State took a look at him, and he was holding out to see if Ohio State would offer for football. They didn't, so he went to Iowa to play basketball instead, and the rest is history. Much like this show. We appreciate Duane stopping by. Have a good one, Bucknutters.